we will sue BBC. I don't care whether, like Barrister Mbesa said, that they are so popular, like CNN, they don't have a following, they have a big following and so on. And a network that operates a fraud on the people is liable just like any other person. And a man who has been defrauded or who has been defamed by a network has a right to sue that network, no matter how big that network is, no matter how many followers they have.
My country people, them, I kid you not. Now, so-called Barrister Fru John Nsoh this edit talk is suggestion and say, say make Amazonians they sue BBC. These people they don't get no friends and they don't get no secrets.
I think that, Paddy, I'm suggesting that if you have a video of this documentary, BBC documentary, preserve it. Unless the status of limitation runs out, we will sue BBC. I don't care whether, like Barrister Mbesa said, that they are so popular, like CNN, they don't have a following, they have a big following and so on. And a network that operates a fraud on the people is liable just like any other person. And a man who has been defrauded or who has been defamed by a network has a right to sue that network, no matter how big that network is, no matter how many followers they have. So keep this video, because we will revisit it. If possible, sue BBC civilly and claim some money from BBC, because this documentary, you cannot begin to quantify the harm that it has caused to this struggle, because it is so one-sided that it puts us in a situation of defense. That, oh, we are the ones killing our people. Oh, for the last 2, like Agbor insinuates, for the last 2 years, we have been killing our people, and we are pretending to fight for independence, and whom shall we govern? Can you imagine a lawyer saying that? A lawyer living in Boya and practicing common law, and also calling himself a human rights whatever. People claim that he is a respected human right that is respected around the world. When I watch that human rights expose in Geneva, I didn't hear about Abogwala's organization, but the prominent human rights people that made that report were there. If it's so popular, what has he really done that will bring this whole struggle, this war rather, into focus and do a balanced reporting as a human rights person on and put it out there? All what I've read about him is extracts here, extracts there. I don't know how popular he is. I don't know how rich he is, but he lives in Boya. And he claims that he's not protected by the separatists. Who then protects him? Who protects him? Well, I rest my case.
So my country people them, that the kind work this way me they do for una, free of charge. Do you know what it means for listening for this kind numbskulls? They talk for 1 hour, 2 hours on end. After a while, they start arguing amongst themselves. Barrister Timbesia and Fru John Nsoh, they were arguing. They almost removed their gloves and they start box each other. Just pure stupidity. Now, make we get to the business. BBC, it don't produce a documentary by the journalist Blaise Young for Cameroon. Eyewitness testimonies them. Victims, they talk about how they kill the loved ones and they behead them, they kidnap them personally, they talk. Barrister Agbor talk, not just as a victim, person where they live on the ground inside Boya, but now person this way, it will be at the forefront of the civil society where they be studies for Cameroon, say lawyers and teachers strike. So it get a stake and it get a voice and it get opinions, it get contribution from make, and it don't talk to the journalists, it talk to the media. Remember as well say, Now, the same so-called Ambazonians in this way, they don't always decry. Say they want for internationalize the so-called struggle. Say they want for bring in world media. Remember when Chris Anubi talks, say, devastation, we have to devastate Kumba, Limbe, Bamenda, so that the BBCs of the world, the Al Jazeeras of the world, they would descend upon Ambazonia or whatever and report what is going on. Finally, the world media, it don't descend. It don't can do an expose, a report on what way they actually happen on the ground. And they don't like it. They don't like it because they're telling the truth. The reality on the ground is the Anglophone civilians are being targeted, they're being murdered, they're being terrorized by the Ambazonia terrorists. I mean, all the stories where they talk about today, verifiable. They are truthful human beings. The way they put their face, their names on video, on camera. They explain things the way we don't already know. No one some people will not be know. When I don't know about the Indian delegates, them 6 way they be kill them. Mabia Johnson and said we kill it on the very first day. So we see, at least we see their body, we'll get a funeral months before the other ones them they be discovered in a mass grave. So all these things them, when the world media it actually can report them, now they don't like it. Surprise, surprise. Because in their wildest imagination, the stupidity of these people, them, the things that they saw, the world media could be stupid or biased like them. It could just come for the can't talk, say, hey, Cameroon military don't do this, Cameroon military don't do this, and then totally pay no attention to the lockdowns where they affect the civilians, to the ghost towns, to the kidnapping for ransoms, to the murders, to the rapes, to the extortion, to the roadblocks, and all of those things where they do and for make the lives of the ordinary civilians them extremely difficult. So when the world media, BBC, they don't finally pay attention to what really happened inside Cameroon, and they don't give an expose, produce a documentary, put them out there, none of them, they don't like them. No one of them. Now, why I never see none of them, they go do a live broadcast, they talk, say, oh, BBC is talking about our struggle. We are internationalizing the struggle. None of them. BBC, do you have any idea how big the BBC is? The BBC is even more important for them because this thing they always talk about Resolution 1608, British Southern Cameroons, because now about the British, because the British, they have a very big stake, according to their calculation, for which way it will happen vis-a-vis the so-called independence of the so-called British Southern Cameroons. Remember, BBC stands for British Broadcasting Corporation, okay? It is a big deal. The BBC get tentacles all over the world, and they fit change public opinion and public policy for big nations around the world. And now, make I explain something for now. I know someone I don't know the importance of these few words. Violence on both sides. Gone are the days where Amber should know why blast the thing say if they can't report what really happened in the Anglophone zone, they go talk say Cameroon military don't do this, Cameroon military, they go blame Cameroon military for everything, and then they go come out unscathed. They go come out like person where it shit not the smell. As a matter of fact, they know the even shits up. So the world media, it need to operate like that. They be balanced and they be fair. They go report exactly, for example, they don't go just report, say, there is violence on both sides. No, they will report, for example, if there is 70% violence on one side and only 30% violence on the other side, they go quote instances. Maybe they will quote 3 or 4 instances on the side where it get the majority of the violence, and then they will quote 1 or 2 instances on the side where they get less violence. So as for be balanced and fair, and exactly what the BBC report, it portray them. It gives numerous examples of the Ambazonia terrorists where they kill people them, behead people them, kidnap people them for ransoms, lockdowns, all of those things, they destroy people their properties. And it gives one example of the Cameroon military, their excesses them, and about 4 or 5 examples of Ambazonia terrorists, their excesses and their crimes against humanity and the torture of Anglophone civilians. Suddenly the so-called Ambazonians, they don't like them because the people that be stupid massa. So wait where they don't always they call for, wait where they be wish for, it don't finally happen, and they don't like it. So they talk now, say they get to fight against the BBC. Now their impression that's they get to fight against the media. So who is your friend? Who is your enemy? So as soon as the BBC expose, the documentary it be come out and the news article, when I know very well what way me I do. And I don't even work for any organization or any government. I work as an individual, as a black legist. What I do? I take my phone and message the actual person where it produced the documentary on the ground, where it did inside Cameroon. And we exchange. I tell you, say, listen, first I start by how. I congratulate you for the fantastic work where they do, and he's doing a fantastic job. It is not easy being a journalist in the Anglophone zone, especially trying to be professional, trying to be fair and balanced. It's not easy. I congratulate you for the fantastic work where Eddie do. I praise you, and then now for the middle, where I then tell you, say, but this is one small bone of contention where I get them. Now, the small part this way, I think, say, you be misrepresent the fact. And I end the message by congratulating him again. So that's what they call a bathtub effect, where you start high and then you come low. Okay, you do small criticism and then you end up on a high note again. It looks like a U, okay, sort of like a bathtub. You start high, you give the criticism low, and then you end up with a high note, so that way the person also feel good when you start talking with you, and they feel good when you end the conversation with you. But in the middle, it go get the message where you send them for you. Again, only one bone of contention, and I pass them across to you, and we get exchanges. And at the end of that conversation, it tells me, say, thank you for that. I don't take them into consideration. And he explain your own side of the story, I explain my own side of the story, and we remain friends because we don't work together in the past. Myself and Blaise Eyong, we don't exchange in the past. Now, right away, I get the telephone number. But look at these wonderful international idiots. Now, people like this, they call themselves barristers. They talk, say they represent Nawuna Anglophones. They say they be government, they be cabinet position. Minister level. Now the stupidity this way, they can't display them live on Facebook. They don't even call the BBC or the journalist where they do the presentation and the documentary. No, they go now for Facebook, go to talk for the, and then as they talk, the person will even try to bring insanity into the conversation. Barrister Tim Bessia, and then now Tapadi King and Fru John Nsoh, that foolish man, they started fight Tim Bessia. Tim Bessia said, but hang on a minute. I'm just trying to get an opinion out and you don't even let me speak. I can't cut that part where there is a fight amongst themselves, Tim Bessia and Barrister Fru John Nsoh. I go publish them for una. Me una listener, una go laugh straight there. If they be there at close proximity, they start literally they punch each other in the face. It was that terrible, okay? They didn't even fight the so-called Cameroon government anymore. Everything and everyone is their enemy. American government don't cancel TPS. Enemy. Norway don't arrest Ayabacho Lucas. Enemy. Nigeria arrest their Ayuk Tabet son of Cameroon. Enemy. BBC write report. Enemy. Ayabacho do public execution. Enemy. Countryman, it tell the truth about their shit no wife last terrorists on the ground. Enemy. So who is your friend? The turn left, the turn right, all where they see now enemies. All man, they want for fight time, they go sue this one, they go crush this one, they go antagonize all man. Ambassador terrorists, they be so stupid, they don't get no friends and they don't get no secret. This is just a typical example. And now some of the things in this way, me I do am for una. Now me I go watch this kind of videos them, cut them, analyze them, and then redistribute them for now, because themselves where they make and publish them, they don't go get up to 3,000 views for that video. If they manage to get 5,000 views, then they don't really try. But for just this video, when me I go cut them, share them, it will get 10,000 views just for Facebook alone, and then we'll get more views for YouTube, and then we'll get about 300,000 views on WhatsApp, because I go share them into your phone directly into your handset where you did for your house. It will come meet up you for your handset. Now the power of country people that, and when we get where it happen, because I don't do the hard work for help una, and then I go analyze them to make una better understand where it happen. Thank you plenty, my country people them today. Now the first day for June 2025.
Lesson number one, my country people talk about it. Listen, whether or not you accept, my country people is a force to reckon with. Me, I agree. He's an enemy that is strong. So Ambazonians will thank my country people for the wonderful job. Now, we'll go ahead.